Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how I painted my Imperial Navy, what's this called, as a Marauder bomber, this is for Aeronautica Imperialis, and it's from the Wings of Vengeance starter set. So we're going to go from bare gray plastic to a completed model. Now, as always, I'm not going to win any awards with this guy, but I'm happy with the way it came out. The only thing I'm unhappy with are the canopies. Now, if you want to follow all of my painting steps, I would say please do. It works nicely, but the canopy, do it differently. Okay, I'm going to keep doing it the same way I did because I want them all to match, but I'm not happy with the canopy of all other things. Anyway, this is how it goes. We build it. Step one. So step one, we build. I built it with the bombs already on. Painting them wasn't so bad later on. It was a little fiddly at times, but it actually just turned out just fine in the end. So step one is that. Step two is prime. So now that we have our built model, we're going to take our primer, and I'm choosing the Desert Tan base by Vallejo. It's a surface primer, yada yada. So let's get this one started. All right, so I brush primed my model with Desert Tan base, and yep, everything is primed, ready to go. Next step is going to be Death World Forest. Okay, Death World Forest, all over the model. Everything gets this canopy, metal bits, everything. So let's just give him a good. All right, 2 quick coats of Death World Forest later. We've got this. And again, he is all covered up. Okay. Some of the areas, like the guns and the engines, I didn't really care if he got a second coat. That's okay if he didn't. But the next step is to give him a complete wash of, is it Coelia or Soelia? Celia? Maybe Celia, like Phoenix. Anyway, green shade, whatever it is, this green shade. Now, it is a dark one, so that's what's going to give us this dark green color. And you can see that, well, definitely to my eye, I can see it. Maybe in the video you can see it as well, but there is a different green to it, and that's because we use this green shade. So let's give him a little green shade and go from there. All right, so now that we've given it a complete wash with green shade, I can tell you that originally I looked at this, and I look at it now and I say, this is ugly. I thought I ruined the model. I was so upset, and I wondered what the problem was. I had watched the How I Paint Things video about Thunderbolts by Sonic Sledgehammer Studio, and I'm going to link that here. And I thought I did it right, but he used a camo shade, not this green shade. So it's like a different kind of shade altogether. And I saw that, and I'm like, oh no, I was not impressed with myself. So I was upset. So then I said, you know what? Maybe I can fix it by just repainting it. I'll paint it back to the beginning, and I'll be done. So I did an overbrush, and I think it's called an overbrush technique of the original Death World Forest. And what it did was it gave us this nice color, which was like the original, just a little greener, a little darker, which is awesome. Now, you could totally do this in a completely different way, but this is how I ended up doing it, fixing a mistake, and the mistake turned out to be fantastic. So happy that I did that. So now I'm going to do, like I said, another Death World Forest overbrush on the whole model, and that'll fix it right up. All right, here we go. That's better. He looks much better now. I found a few areas now that it's dry that I can just go over a touch again with the with that base color of Death World Forest. Just a few little areas, but you can see the difference between the green shade and then an overbrush of the base color. And this is just a wash of Seraphim Sepia. And if I overbrush this one, I wonder what that would look like too. But I like that I've got 2 different colors here. I've got a greener one and a browner one. And that's both from the same base color, which is cool. Anyway, at this point, I'm going to give a nice quick little dry brush highlighting of Bane Blade Brown. And that's, from front to back, just to get the front to be where all the highlights are. And very light. You can just see edge highlighting here and there. I don't like to over highlight my models. So just something a little basic, nothing special, nothing crazy. And I do this before I add the blue or the metal, of course, just so we don't have that on there. So let's do it. All right, so the Baneblade Brown highlighting is done, and I think I may have dry brushed a little more than I did on the original model. Oh, they're all blurry. Sorry about that. Sorry. They're a little bit higher, starker highlight here, I think, but I think it'll be fine. It'll once all the other colors are put in, they'll blend in nicely. I did find another couple areas where I think I might go over again with a very tiny bit of the green shade into the recesses, just in some areas that the overbrushing kind of covered up, and that's on both models. So I'll go back and do that as well. But the next step, it could be either the blue or the silvers. I'm going to go with the silvers next. So I'm going to use lead belcher just straight up all over the metal bits, guns, various parts of the engine, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, just a bunch. Oh, and don't forget the little vents that are in the front. Anyway, so yeah, lead belcher's next. Here we go. All right, so all the metal is done, and now everyone's favorite wash, Nuln Oil. Okay, that's just going to go on all of the metal bits. Kind of dark in some areas, not so dark in other areas. Try to be careful of the little thin, like piping or whatever it is, not to get it too much onto the armor plating of the plane, the rest of it. But yeah, just a little bit of Nuln Oil. All right, now that I've finished with the Nuln Oil, you'll see that I did do the little engine runoff dirty bits over here. Nothing too crazy, just felt that made it a little bit realistic, and everything else, all the metal got its wash, including those little bits under the bottom. Don't forget those. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do are the colorful stripes, and I'm using blue. Most of my paints happen to be Citadel, not that I prefer it, really is just they were available when I needed them, and then someone let me borrow a few of theirs, so I've got a lot of Citadel now compared to otherwise. But I've traditionally used P3 paints, and I've been using them for a long time, and here are two that I've been using for many years. So I'm going to use Signar Blue Base for the base coat, and then a little bit of Signar Blue highlight down the middle and on the edges, depending on where it is. So for this one, I did the stripes kind of like on the box art. These two on the wing and then one here. The next one I'm probably going to do along the edges here, and maybe something along the edge here. I'm not exactly sure, but it'll be slightly different. Same colors, but just somewhere else. All right, here we go. Blue, blue, and blue. All right, which one's the fully painted one? Which one isn't? Ooh, getting close. They're getting close. So only two more things to go on this guy. We've got the bombs, and we've got the canopies. So next, let's do the canopies. I don't know if I mentioned before, but I do not like the way these canopies turned out. They're not so bad if you look at them quickly. When you look at them close, they look pretty gross and grimy. So, but I'm gonna try the same approach and just see if I can do a better job. But yeah, they are Ulthuan Grey. Ulthuan Grey. Right there, little Ulthuan. Just inside the canopies, and then we'll put something in there to tint them blue. But Ulthuan Grey to start off with. So let's get Ulthuan, and don't forget there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different areas where these canopies go. So let's do that. It's amazing what you learn when you just play around with things. So I actually, after you can tell, I did my Ulthuan Grey, and then I did my Ultramarines blue right there in the windows. And then what I actually did was I thought, hey, after that's dry, why don't I put a little bit of Apothecary White in the window in a little dot to see if I can kind of have a white interior. And I did it, and I quite like it. I think it turned out nice. So it's still not perfect. It's not exactly what I was looking for in the canopies, but I think it made it much better. Now you can see I have not yet cleaned up the edges around here, which I will do afterwards. First, I'm going to do, I'm nearing the end here, I'm going to do the bombs, and the bombs I'm going to paint in Averland Sunset, and I'm going to give them probably 2 quick little thin coats of Averland Sunset. Then I'm going to wash it with Seraphim Sepia. Okay. And then, yeah, that'll, if I need to touch it up anything with our Averland Sunset, I will. I don't think I'll need to. I didn't with these guys. That was just 2 coats of Averland Sunset. And then Seraphim Sepia. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. And then we're just on to final details and cleanup, and we're done. So, here we go. Let's get the bombs done. All right, we are near the end. So, I have washed the bombs after they got Everland Sunset. And now, the last little thing to do is I'm going to go through with Corn Red and a Signar Blue base, and I'm going to fill in some little areas that are like little lights. So here on the tips of the wings, back here, I think there are a couple here. I noticed that I actually forgot to do this casing part in metal, so I have to go back and do that metal first so that I can give them red little lenses like their lights. Here in the front too, just little details here and there that are various little colors, you know, reds and blue. Then I'm going to clean up the canopies, all of them. Go around, clean up anything that needs to be cleaned up, and the next time you see this model, it's going to be completely done, and it'll be beside the other one, all done. So there we go. A couple more steps, a few more minutes, really, and it's another one done. And here we are, all done. So we've taken this model from bare plastic, gray plastic, to these nicely painted models. Now again, these are not going to win us any awards, but they are going to be beautiful little things on the tabletop. I've touched up all the greens that need to be touched up that I've seen. I've added details, little lights and doodads and knickknacks here and there underneath. You can't, won't be able, oh yeah, you can. See little lights right underneath the first cockpit, the gunner cockpit there, or canopy, or whatever that, ball turret, I guess it's kind of like. Anyway, so we've got two planes that are very similar. They're definitely on the same team, definitely from the same unit. They're just, you know, outfitted. Well, their armament is all right, and there we go. We are done, folks. Now, other than the bases, which will be a future project, I'll figure out how I'm going to do those. But other than that, I've got these lovely planes ready to go. These bombers are ready for the tabletop. Now, again, they're not going to win any awards, but they are going to look nice on the tabletop, which is my goal every time. I like how the canopies came out. Ooh, I realize I just need to do another touch up there. I will find other things to touch up here and there, but otherwise, these guys are done, okay? So, thank you for joining me on this adventure, and I will, let's see, can I show you some of those little details, like little light up there. I will take some really good pictures, and maybe I'll put up at the end of this project, I'll put pictures, close-up pictures of everything, especially after I've decided what I'm going to do with the bases. But I am happy with these guys, and I think together, with their slightly different markings, I think they look like a great team. And if I ever do get more, I will probably do blue again, and then just find different panels to color in. Anyway, these guys are done. Thanks for joining me on this little adventure. I'll put all the paints I used in the description. And yeah, next time you see these guys, they will be in some kind of battle report or review, or I don't know, something. I just want to show these guys off in game. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. See you later.